Talk about one of the biggest issues coming out of Brics. It is how is Brics going to help our blackouts? How are they going to help Eskom here in South Africa? We know if we don't have power, or at least reliable power, it affects our economy, which affects our ability to contribute to Brics. So the Electricity Minister, Kgosientsho Ramokgopa, has signed memos of cooperation, MOCs, with 8 Chinese entities. It's all hoping this is going to help do something with our power in the country. Government says Eskom will now be capacitated to improve performance and also reduce emissions. Is that the case? Let's find out. Energy expert Hartmut Winkler making time for me this morning. Hartmut, good to have you on ENCA. Appreciate the time so early in the morning. Is that how you're reading this? We're going to get a donation, if you will, and then we're going to get some technical expertise, and we're going to get some equipment, and poof, blackouts are going to be gone.
Okay, let's just be clear. Blackouts aren't going to be gone just like that. Certainly, these sort of measures are going to help, but ultimately, in order to solve load shedding altogether, there's no quick fix at all. And we're in this in the long term. So the best I think we can hope for is that by the end of next year, the situation will be better. But I'm pretty sure we're still going to have some load shedding for about 5 years. Now, as far as this deal with China is concerned, let's just bear in mind that there's already a lot of interaction, especially on that sort of technological front with China. If you look at the average solar panel in this country, the chances are that it was made in China. If you look at the batteries which many houses have installed in order to get around load shedding, many of those come from China as well. So it's not something dramatically new. The business interaction between South Africa and China has been there for a long time, and it's also got not so much to do with any special relationship, but simply because China's just very good and have established themselves worldwide as manufacturers of these sort of technological devices. So how can this help us? Well, if one looks at the companies that they've got a range of companies. I've looked at what they do. Some of them are just running the grid, so that might help Eskom in the sense that China's just gone through a massive electrification program. They've really increased the number of the amount of power that they have on the grid by many folds. So it's something where they might be able to pick up some sort of pointers. But ultimately, again, I don't think it's what foreign countries or foreign entities are going to do in this country. It's more what South Africans themselves are going to be able to do. Yeah. Sure, you take help. I don't know if this help is intended to be with Chinese workers and experts coming here and doing the job, or if it's something else. But yes, ultimately, I think it's a logical thing for the government to try and do this. I think this happened not so much here, but it's something that happened a month or two ago when the Minister of Electricity went to China. It was really just solidifying existing arrangements.
Yeah, just because I think there were more cameras, I think, pointing at the Chinese delegation and the Electricity Minister. So let's sign a couple of pieces of paper so we can get the headlines on the newspapers in the morning. When it comes to the Chinese, and even if it is a case that this has been boiling under the radar for a while, Prof, as you say, we kind of have always known China's involvement in the electricity side, from the solar panel, for example, the solar panels and all that technology. Could this just be a scaling up of that? Could this just be a ramping up of those efforts? And while you answer that, I'm curious. I've never believed, even in a partnership like Brics, that there is such a thing as a free lunch. It doesn't exist. In global economy, there is no such thing as a donation. Something's going to be needed somewhere down the road. What's your feeling on that?
Yes, I think you're quite right. Of course, whether it's the Chinese now, whether it's any other sort of foreign aid or so, there's always some sort of expectation that this is going to help the donor at some point later in time. In this case, I think it's the main driver is probably China just simply looking for markets. Another thing that's been happening in China is that they've been installing new power on an absolutely incredible scale. The figures themselves are astonishing, what they've been able to do. For example, when we talk about solar and wind in this country, we've got about 6 gigawatts installed. China has managed to get to about 100 times that amount in record time, and they're still planning to continue. Their 2030 targets they're planning to meet in 2 years' time already. whereas our 2030 targets were already 2 years behind schedule. So they're certainly very good at doing these sort of things very fast. And maybe they are looking at a situation where somewhere down the line they know that their domestic demand is not going to be there anymore for these companies. So they're probably looking for to build a global market to continue this.
Prof, I want to just go slightly left here. It's obviously still power related. I hope you don't mind me asking. A story from a few days ago. I had Panyaza Lesufi, the Gauteng Premier, here on the show with me. He was saying on record that because of what they in this province, in the Gauteng province, are going to do is with power, we should have no load shedding, no blackouts by the end of this year. Obviously, it's election season. This is what politicians are going to say. But is there any semblance of truth? He says there's money going into it, 1.2 billion. There's power stations being built in Gauteng. But part of me is thinking, it sounds like a great idea. I think we all wish it was so. But I can't imagine that being realistic. What's your thoughts quickly?
Yes, well, Gauteng is building some solar power stations, but even though solar power stations can be set up much quicker than, say, a coal or nuclear plant, it still takes 1.5 to 2 years. And you need to get approvals before that. So that's why I'm saying the earliest I think we're going to see much of a difference is towards the end of next year. Because even if they start with all this now, they're not going to be finished by the end of the year. The other thing people are hoping for is that the breakdown at Kusile, which amounted to more than 2 stages of load shedding, that's going to be fixed at the end of this year. I think that's also very hopeful. I would be surprised if they manage that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think it's an element of truth we all have to just recognize as well, that there might be plans, there might be deals, memorandums of understandings, MOCs, whatever you want to call them with China, but it's still going to take a while to get this sorted out. My huge